Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What's shaking on your Tuesday at a special early time? Why? Well, it's because this morning on the BS show, uh, they said they'd be live at 7 Eastern, which of course is a time that I think everybody knows I'll be doing this. I mean, everybody knows. And I'm a realist. I live in the real world. Rather than be crushed under the oppressive boot heel of the TSN mega network, I said, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll do an early show. I'll just go ahead and I'll go early. And then the first slap in the face is Levy's got a rerun running right now as a premiere. I mean, what the hell did I do to these people? I mean, come on. I'm the victim here. This is an act of violence. Anyway, I am going to tell you tonight about an amazing cultural phenomena, incident, some would say riot, called Disco Demolition Night this evening. Of course, as always, we'd love it if you like and share and subscribe and do all sorts of those things for us. Don't cost you nothing. And then, of course, if you could, paypal.me/Tom Gully Show. That'd be great. That'd be really great. That would be nice. We'd like that. But I am going to take it personally if they're not live at 7 Eastern. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not even going to complain about it because I don't want that kind of trouble. But, let's see here. Ronald Bain, I'd rather watch Tom Gully than most of TSN, just a matter of personal taste. Well, yes, it is a matter of personal taste, and I think the universe and the internet in general, by and large, have spoken as far as that's concerned. Hey, man, numbers and bank statements don't lie. You know what I'm saying? Let's not get into that. We appeal to a very, very, very niche, high quality, but statistically insignificant sized audience here. That's what happens. Sven Dunkel says, violence, 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 and then says, hello. Hello, Sven Dunkel. Good to see you. Tom and gang, yes, it's good to see you too. Anything else going on? I think I will, we'll do the Disco Demolition Night, which you're not going to believe. It's actually kind of amazing. Although I did pick it because I anticipated a much smaller audience this evening. But it's amazing. You're not going to believe it. Terry Nee says it's 6 p.m. It's 6 p.m. Eastern. And somebody's going to have to let me know if a 7 p.m. TSN show live gets scheduled while this show's going on, because I won't be able to check. But I deliberately am doing this an hour earlier because that's what they said. Pegleg Biker says, there are some tip-top chaps and chapettes here. You got that right. I mean, we go for quality, not quantity, obviously. The thing of it is, if there's no 7 o'clock show, I don't care. You got to roll with the punches. In the real world of broadcasting, this happens all the time. You don't want to, program against the Super Bowl or something like that. It's life, and I'm a realist, and I live in the real world. It's just that if there isn't one, and they're running a Levy rerun as a premiere right now, it's almost like you guys trying to take me out, huh? You guys trying to shank me in the back in the showers? Is that what's going on here? Anyway, I'm glorifying they're not even aware that this show is on or when or anything else. They don't watch it. I don't blame them. I don't recommend it. Okay, let's see. I got another thing. Sven Dunkel, who builds yachts, by the way, says Sepultura was in Utah video in DMs. Great video and landscape. Well, thank you, Sven. Ronald Bateman says, for what it's worth, Tom, I have your back. Thank you. And Terry Nee says, Joe, us, you're a boomer. I don't think that's been verified. Joe is, you're a boomer. No, Joe's been very nice to me. His wife comes in here. We barbecue. I know his wife. It sounds like the neighbor that ratted you out to the HOA, the Homeowners Association. I think your neighbor's the one that, told him you had that barbecue grill out after 11 o'clock last week. No, he wouldn't do that. We talk all the time. We email. I know his wife. She's in here all the time, Jokerfish says, hello, Tom. I'm on the streets of Delaware walking the dog. The neighbors can hear you. Well, good. Joker's neighbors, I just want to say on record, I am a tremendous fan of George Thorogood. I have a live DVD of George Thorogood in England, and I watch it all the time. Spenduncle says somebody needs a bit of short bus justice, eh? No, there'll be no justice handed out here today. There'll be no justice handed out here today. I don't know why I should expect any material fairness or, reciprocity for the tremendous support that I show. Oh, I got two things to talk about after I do the Disco Demolition thing because, oh, by the way, Disco Demolition, as always, on my background here, parts of it. And don't let me forget, because I want to talk about the Shawnee Zone last night, and I also want to talk about Stuttering John today. Terry Nee says, Frog is bad. He's bad to the bosom on the day he was born. Women all gather round, and they looked at the wild wonder at the joy they had found. Head spoke up. Said, leave this one alone. I'm here to tell you, he's ribbit, bad to the bone. Bad to the bone. Bad. Mungo, sad no justice. Mungo, sad. Mungo, but pawn in game of life. All right. Let's see here. Saw George Thorogood and Johnny Winter. Well, you didn't see him with a white backdrop. That much I'll tell you. All right, let's get into this. Let me tell you about Disco Demolition Night. Can I tell you about that? Can I please tell you about Disco Demolition now? Now you're going to have to go back with me into the olden days, okay? You're going to have to go back with me just a little bit. Now, disco. Originally, disco was started in Latin America and South America. And discotheques became very popular in Europe and those other two locations. They were known overseas to a certain extent, and certainly here in the United States in the 60s and then into the 70s as a place where LGBTQ people would hang out and party. That's what they were known for, okay? And a lot of hetero people did not want anything to do with the disco until 1977, all right? So what happened was, in 1977, a movie came out, Saturday Night Fever, and they presented it as sort of a hetero macho thing, and dancing and, how to get girls and all that were part of it. And the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack went, multi-platinum. It was hugely popular. It made stars here, although they had some minor hit airplay in the States, a lot more in England, of the Bee Gees. All right. So the president of RSO Records, and RSO Records was pretty much a disco label at a certain point. He said that Saturday Night Fever took disco out of the closet. Now, a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, because you still had the Village people and, all that. A lot of the hardcore rock and roll people just hated disco. and they hated it partially because of its popularity. In 1979, in February of 1979, disco albums absolutely dominated the Grammy Awards, and many people felt that it was the end of rock and roll, that rock and roll was going to die. All right? So here's just one example of the popularity of disco. In 1978, WKTU, which is now WINS FM in New York, was a very, very, very low-rated rock station. And because that rock format was not working for the station, they switched to disco and became the most popular radio station in the country. Subsequently, disco-only radio stations sprung up everywhere. I remember it was just like shocking in Indianapolis. We had Kiss 99, and one of the top rock and roll dudes in Indianapolis, he was on the big rock station. His name was Adam Smasher. I think his last name was Ben Ruby. If you've ever seen the movie Open Range, the big giant guy whose last name is Ben Ruby in that movie, in Open Range, the big dude, he gets killed in the movie, that's Adam Smasher's son. Anyway, long story short, this whole thing takes place in Chicago. And in Chicago, 24-year-old Steve Dahl, okay, he was part of a team called Steve and Gary. And he was working as a disc jockey for WDAI, which is now WLS FM. WLS is Channel 9 in Chicago. So it was a big ABC-owned station. He was fired on Christmas Eve, 1978, as part of the station's switch from rock to disco. So he's out of a job, and he's mad at disco. However, he was immediately hired by rival album rock station WLUP. So he felt like there was this huge anti-disco backlash that nobody had appealed to whatsoever. Here's Stephen Dahl right there in the sort of the army outfit on Disco Demolition Night. And after he got fired, he created this mock organization called the Insane Coho Lips, which I still don't know what that means, which was an anti-disco army of his listeners. Okay? So they banded this group of people, and it was a large group of people in Chicago, around a very simple idea. And that idea was summed up in just 2 words. I had them up just a little earlier, and that is disco sucks. Disco sucks. Bumper stickers, T-shirt, you name it. They started springing up everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Well, this organization, according to Steve Dahl, in 1979, after he was fired, were locked in a war dedicated to the eradication of the dreaded musical disease known as disco. And in the weeks leading up to Disco Demolition Night, he started holding these major anti-disco public events, several of which were pretty much riots, okay? There was a discotheque in a Chicago suburb that switched from disco to rock, and he arrived, as did several thousand people, and the police were called. Later that month, he and several thousand people occupied. They paid the money to get in, and they occupied a teen disco in the Chicago suburbs. Filled it up so nobody else could get in. At the end of June, Dahl urged his listeners to throw marshmallows at the disco station's promotional van in a shopping mall where a teen disco had been built and a radio promotion was going on. His organization chased the van and the driver and cornered them and started shaking the van, and ended without violence, but the police were called. And then on July 1st, a near riot occurred in Hanover Park, Illinois, when hundreds of these cohos could not enter a sold-out promotional event, and fights broke out everywhere. Some 50 police officers were needed to control the situation. When disco star Van McCoy, died suddenly on July the 6th, Dahl marked the occasion of destroying one of his records on the air. And Van McCoy's big hit was Do the Hustle. Dun, 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 do the hustle. Anyway, Steve and Gary regularly mocked disco records on the air, and Dahl recorded a parody song that was wildly popular. And this wasn't just happening in Chicago, by the way. A number of anti-disco events occurred all over the country, showing that this disco demolition night was not just a one-off. Okay, in Seattle, hundreds of rock fans attacked a mobile dance floor, while in Portland, a disc jockey destroyed a stack of disco records with a chainsaw as thousands of people cheered. In New York, a DJ just one time played Donna Summer's disco hit, Hot Stuff. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, tonight. The station received tens of thousands of protests in the form of calls and letters from listeners. Now, take a little sidetrack here. The Chicago White Sox. I know you're saying, where do they come into all this? Well, Disco Demolition Night took place at Comiskey Park, which was the home field of the Chicago White Sox. The owner of the White Sox at the time was a gentleman by the name of Bill Veeck, who was famous for promotional stunts to get people into the stands. If you know the story of Eddie Goodell, and I could tell that story someday, Bill Veeck actually signed up a midget, a little person, to go to bat in a Major League Baseball game. This actually happened because the strike zone for him was so small, he was almost guaranteed to get a walk. And then they would just sub in a pinch runner, and off he goes, you know? That was one of the things. When he had a minor league ball club, he looked at the league rules and found that he could do the following thing. When his team was at bat, the home run fence in the outfield was at a certain height. Let's just say, for example, it was 9 feet tall. When the other team came at bat, he had a system of pulleys and stuff that made the home run fence like 30 feet high to keep him from hitting home runs. At any rate, his son Mike was the promotions director for the White Sox in '79, and he wrote a letter to all the season ticket holders that year saying whether this team wins or loses, and the Sox were not a great team then. They were fun to watch, a lot of home run hitters, but they weren't that great. They were win as many as they lose kind of team. Now, early in the '79 season, there was a game between the White Sox in Chicago and the visiting Detroit Tigers that was rained out, but then was rescheduled to make a double header on Thursday, July the 12th, 1979. So they just took that rained out game, said we'll replay it later in what they call a twilight double header, which is basically as soon as it starts getting dark. It's a nighttime double header. Already scheduled for that night was a promotion aimed at teenagers who could purchase tickets at half the regular price. Now, the White Sox had had a disco night back in 1977, but Mike Veeck and WLUP sales manager Jeff Schwartz, remember, that's the rock station with Steve Dahl on it, discussed the possibility of an anti-disco night promotion after Schwartz mentioned that the White Sox were looking to do a promotion with the station. They'd also brought it up at another point in the season when the station sales manager told Mike Veeck that Steve Dahl had planned to blow up a crate of disco records while live on the air from a shopping mall. So Dahl was asked, would you be interested in blowing up records at Comiskey Park on July the 12th? Since the radio frequency of WLUP was 97.9, the promotion for that night, which was called Disco Demolition Night, in addition to the half-price offer for teenagers, was that anyone who brought a disco record to the ballpark to be exploded, blown up, would be admitted for 98 cents. Okay? So he was going to blow up all these records in between games of this doubleheader, this 2-game, 1-night event. So in the weeks before, let me give you guys a little something different to look at here. I'm starting to take it personally. I'm starting to take it personally. I really am. Let me give you a little foreshadowing. I can't talk tonight. You know why? Because I'm taking it personally. Peter Lake's here. Hey, Sunday Jenna, does your husband hate my guts? Do all of those guys hate my guts over there? Are they doing a live show tonight? Please, someone tell me. I moved this to a different time because they said they were, and so then I'm just a little show here, caught in the wake of a much larger show. Anyway. This is an act of violence. Anyway, so here's the deal. I'm kidding. We all know I'm kidding. This show is wildly unpopular before today. All right, so in the weeks before this event was to take place, Steve Dahl asked his listeners to bring records that they wanted to see destroyed to the ballpark. And he was terrified, absolutely terrified, that this promotion would not draw any people and he'd be humiliated. He'd look like an idiot. The previous night's attendance at Comiskey Park was 15,000 people. And Comiskey Park had a capacity of 44,000 people. So it's about a third of the way full, which is not good. Incidentally, and I'll just say this because I grew up in Indianapolis and went up to Chicago for both Cubs and White Sox games. Comiskey Park, you could get stabbed there, man. It was on the south side of Chicago, in the baddest part of town. And if you go down there, you better just beware of a man named Leroy Brown. Now, see, Leroy, he's a gambler, and he likes his fancy clothes, and he likes to wear his diamond ring upon everybody's nose. He got a custom Continental. He got an Eldorado, too. He got a .32 gun in his pocket full of fun and a razor in his shoe. You know why? Because he's bad Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town. Badder than old King Kong and meaner than a junkyard dog. So the White Sox and WLUP were hoping for a crowd of 20,000. And that would be, after all, 25% more than they've gotten the previous evening. Mike Veck, though, the promotions manager, son of the owner, he hired enough security for 35,000 people just to be safe. Bill Veck, the owner, the legendary promoter, was concerned that the promotion might become a disaster, and he checked himself out of the hospital where he'd been undergoing some tests. Now, Bill Veck famously smoked a lot of cigars. He was missing one leg and had health problems all the time. So he checks himself out of the hospital, and old Bill's fears were realized because he saw people walking toward the ballpark that afternoon, and they were carrying signs that, let's just say, were not family friendly regarding disco. A word with the letter F may have been on many of these signs. Now, the doubleheader, 2 games, sold out. Not only did it sell out, there were 20,000 people outside the ballpark who couldn't get in. Well, couldn't get in, kind of a loose term, because these were the sort of people that didn't really think they needed a ticket, so they leapt over the turnstiles, they climbed fences, and they entered through open windows into the ballpark. The official attendance was reported at 47,795, which well exceeded the actual capacity of Comiskey Park by 3,000. But Bill Veck estimated that there were anywhere from 50,000 to 55,000 people at the park, easily the largest crowd of his second stint as the White Sox owner. He had owned the White Sox 20 years before. The Chicago Police Department closed off ramps over there on the Dan Ryan. If you're talking to Joey Catalano, I'm going to tell you right now, over on the Dan Ryan Expressway there, goes straight by to Comiskey Park there. It's a major thoroughfare in Chicago. And they closed the off-ramps to get to Comiskey Park on the Dan Ryan. People who were attending the game were supposed to deposit their disco records into a large box. Now, the box was 4 feet by 6 feet by 5 feet. Okay? But once the box started overflowing like crazy, many people just brought their records to their seats, which will become seriously important later on. All right? You know what I'm saying? They eventually got down to cases here. I got a bunch of pictures of this, man. Okay, so the first game was supposed to start at 6 o'clock in the evening, with the second game to follow afterwards, of course. Now, Lorelei, those of you who are from Chicago may remember Lorelei. I'm going to show you Lorelei. She was a lady that did a lot of promotions for the Loop, WLUP, and she was smoking hot. And, she was just their station hot girl. All right. She was popular, very popular for her provocative, ads for the station. She threw out the first pitch for the first ball game. Now, as the first game began, Mike Veck, the promotions guy, received word that thousands of people were trying to get into the park without any tickets. So he sent all, and I mean all, of his security personnel to the stadium gates to stop them. Which probably sounds like a logical, rational idea, right? Hey, these hunyucks are trying to get, I'm going to send my security and they won't get in here. Yeah, well, that left the actual playing field completely unattended. And fans began throwing their uncollected disco LPs and singles out of the stands. Tigers' designated hitter, Rusty Staub, remembered the records would slice through the air and land sticking out of the ground. I don't know if you've ever thrown an LP, but they just, it's like throwing a throwing star, a meat cleaver, right? So he urged his teammates to wear their batting helmets, even when they were in the outfield. He said, it wasn't just one, it was many. Oh, almighty God. This is a quote, by the way. I've never seen anything so dangerous in my life. People in the stands also threw firecrackers, empty liquor bottles, and lighters on fire onto the field. The game was stopped several times because of the nonstop shower of foreign objects. Now, dozens of hand-painted banners like the one I showed you earlier with slogans like "Disco Sucks" were hung from the ballpark's seating decks. White Sox broadcaster, famously imitated by Will Ferrell, Harry Carey. Hi, this is Harry Carey. He saw groups of music fans just wandering the stands. Others sat intently in their seats, awaiting that big explosion, because they still had yet to explode all these disco records between the games. Mike Veck recalled, and there was an extremely strong aroma of marijuana in the grandstands. And the odor permeated the press box. All the press that were there were like, we're all getting contact highs here. Harry Carey and his broadcast partner, Jimmy Pearsall, actually were talking about it on the air. One young Tom Gully was actually watching this ball game on Channel 44 out of Chicago, the superstation, which we got on cable at the time. Crowds outside the stadium also threw records or gathered them and burned them in bonfires outside of the station. How about some more pictures, huh? How about some more pictures of this sucker? Come on. How about some more pictures of this absolute nightmare? Oh, let's see. I already showed you one explosion. I showed you Steve Dahl. Let's just go ahead and show you that right there. Yeah, it's about to get a lot worse, folks. It's about to get a lot worse. The first game ended at 8-16, and Detroit won that game 4-1. Now at 8:40, Steve Dahl, I'll show him to you one more time here. Steve Dahl, there he is, dressed up in all of his Let's Destroy Disco regalia. He came out to do the explosion, right? He went onto the playing surface with his partner, Gary, of Steve and Gary, and also Lorelei. They circled the field in a Jeep and got beer and firecrackers thrown on them, apparently. Then they proceeded to the center field, where the box with all these records awaited, which was actually 6 feet tall. It's probably taller than Stephen Dahl. And it was already rigged with explosives. Now, Steve and Gary warmed up the crowd, leading attendees in a chant of "Disco sucks." Lorelei later recalled that the view from center field was surreal. On the mound, White Sox pitcher Ken Krivec. He was scheduled to start the second game. He starts warming up. Other White Sox in the dugout, and they're all wearing batting helmets by this point in time, looked out of the dugouts like, oh my God, what's going on here? Fans who thought things were getting out of control, bad luck for them. Very bad luck. You know why? Yeah, well, in an effort to keep people from getting in, security padlocked all the gates except for one. Dahl set off the explosives, destroying the records, and in the process, tearing a gigantic hole in the outfield grass. And it just wasn't the grass. It looked like a, mortar shell, it had gone off. With most of security personnel still watching the gates as the promotions guy, Mike Veck, had instructed, there was almost nobody guarding the playing surface. And that's the reason for the scenes you see before you next to me here. Nobody there to guard them. Soon, 5,000 to 7,000 people are on the field, and Ken Krivec, the White Sox pitcher, ran off the mound and with his teammates barricaded themselves in the clubhouse. Fans were climbing the foul poles while others set records on fire or ripped up the grass. The batting cage was destroyed and the bases were pulled up and stolen. Among those taking to the field was a 21-year-old aspiring actor who you may know as John Coffey from The Green Mile, and a personal friend of mine, Michael Clark Duncan. Long may he rest in peace. As a most wonderful man I think I may have ever met, may have ever known. And that's a story I can tell on another day if you'd like me to. During the melee, Duncan slid into third base and then got up and grabbed a bat from the dugout and split. As Bill Veck stood with a microphone near where home plate had been, begging people to return to the stands, a bonfire raged in the outfield. Now, years later, Lorelei remembered that she'd been waving to the crowd when she was grabbed by two of the bodyguards who had accompanied the Jeep, and they put her back in the vehicle with Steve and Gary, and those people were unable to return to home plate because of the rowdy fans. The Jeep was driven out of the stadium through the surrounding streets where all these people are rioting and stuff, and they can't go anywhere. So, because everybody recognizes them, they get driven back into the stadium, ushered back inside, and taken up to the press box. Harry Carey unsuccessfully tried to restore order via the public address system. The scoreboard is flashing, "Please return to your seats." That was ignored. They played "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." I don't know if that's not going to work. I mean, come on. That's like the baseball Star Spangled Banner. Some attendees were dancing in circles around the burning vinyl shards in the air. Stephen Dahl, to his credit, offered his help to get on the microphone to settle the rowdy fans down, but they declined him. They were like, I think you've done enough already. At 9:08 p.m., Chicago police in riot gear arrived. To the applause of baseball fans remaining in the stands, those on the field hastily dispersed upon seeing the police. 39 people were arrested for disorderly conduct, and estimates of injuries are impossible to calculate. It's too much mayhem. Now, here's something that's never happened before, okay? Bill Veeck wanted the teams to play that second game once everything settled down, but the field was already so badly torn up that the umpire crew chief, Dave Phillips, felt it's not playable, even after the White Sox groundskeepers spent an hour clearing away the debris. The manager of the Tigers, legendary Sparky Anderson, refused to allow his players to take the field in any event due to safety concerns. The crew chief of the umpires called American League President Lee MacPhail, who postponed the second game to Sunday. This was a Thursday. Postponed it to Sunday after he heard of what was going on. But Sparky Anderson said, no, they should have to forfeit this game. Under baseball's rules, game can't be postponed for any reason other than an act of God, like rain or something. And as the home team, the White Sox were responsible for field conditions. The next day, Lee MacPhail, American League president, forfeited the second game to the Tigers 9-0 in a ruling that upheld Sparky Anderson's arguments. MacPhail stated the White Sox had failed to provide acceptable playing conditions. The day after the event happened, Stephen Dahl was not very apologetic. Columnist David Israel, the Chicago Tribune, said he wasn't surprised. It would happen any place 50,000 teenagers got together on a summer night with beer and reefer. White Sox pitcher Rick Wortham, a Texan, said this wouldn't have happened if they'd had country and western night. Although Bill Veeck took much of the public criticism for the fiasco, his son Mike is the one that suffered most of the repercussions as the front office promoter. Mike remained with the White Sox until the next year, at the end of the season, when he resigned, and his father sold the team soon afterward. Mike Veeck was unable to find another job in baseball for quite a while and claimed he'd been blackballed. For several years, he worked at a high-lie place in Florida and kind of battled alcoholism. He said, the second that first guy shimmied down the outfield wall, I knew my life was over. Since then, Mike Veeck, and you'll see him in sports pages occasionally, has become the owner of minor league baseball teams and does crazy promotions just like his dad did. And as owner of the Charleston River Dogs, he has held promotions involving the destruction of Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus merchandise. Stephen Dahl is still a radio personality in Chicago and has his own podcasting network. So that second game of the doubleheader, that unplayed second game, to this day, is the last American League game to have been forfeited. Okay? And according to baseball analyst Jeremiah Graves, to this day, Disco Demolition Night stands in infamy as one of the most ill-advised promotions of all time, but arguably one of the most successful, because we're still talking about it 44 years later. And that's the rest of the story. That's the story of Disco Demolition Night. Let me show you some more pictures. There's people running onto the field. This is a shot of, it's getting kind of crazy. There's another one there. People going, that's the police arriving. You can see at the bottom of the screen. This here is one of the more, there's just packed with people. This guy's got no shirt on. Here's Lorelei again, just because she was Lorelei, Hey, to the 28 plus people in here tonight, thank you so much for being here. Please like and share and subscribe. It don't cost you nothing, Ain't like it's Disco Demolition Night, not even 98 cents, you know what I'm saying? out there on the Dan Ryan. I dropped my tranny right there on the Dan Ryan. Karen Garvey last night was kind enough to make a contribution to paypal.me/Tom Gully Show. The first one in quite some time. And we'd like to keep this thing going. And man, anything you can do on our road to monetization. I believe last night when I looked, we are at 2,308 hours on the march to 3,000. So we're still looking at 2 months probably to get this thing monetized. So at any rate, thanks for being here. I got a couple of things to say about a couple of things. Why don't I just go ahead and read your comments? And then I'm going to talk about the Shawnee Zone last night, because the dude tried to get in my world, and he was saying a bunch of stuff. I mean, I like the guy and I like the show, but he was saying a bunch of stuff that was just going to get people killed. Does anybody know? Well, I'll ask that here in a second. Let's see, Mungo Sad. I already read that one. I used to love disco, like the Carlton. I don't know what that means. One bourbon, one scotch, one beer. I know what that means. Punk's not dead. Well, then we should point that out. Thank you, Sven. The thing that really killed disco was punk rock. You know, disco, I mean, I like some disco songs, a couple of them, but not that great. But when punk rock came out, disco was punk rock. If people don't like punk rock, that's their right, and that's fine. But punk rock's what killed disco. Don't get it twisted. Punk rock and new wave killed disco. Terry Nee says, I can confirm I wore a polyester shirt. It was about the girls. Hey, Terry Nee, did you have one of those polyester shirts that had like pictures on it and stuff? It was always a pattern of like race cars and was really clogged with it. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, we have 30 people in this room at the same time. Can you? Oh, now we're back to 29, but still, we were there for a second. Can't share Facebook. I'm sorry about that, Sven. Diana Bryan's here from Shrewsbury, Shropshire. Over across the pond, you know, across the Blighty. Good to see you, Diana. Always nice. Delco Chris says, Soul Makasa by Manu Dibango, considered to be the disco song style Waswa. Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight. Hip, hop, hippie. Hippie to the hip, hip, hoppy, you don't stop, or rockin' to the bang. Don't get me going, don't get me going. Oh, first disco style song, cool. Dance music is fun, it is fun. Pogo at Bavaria Beer Tent. Disco was so popular that we had it as part of our dance in gym class, was disco. And the cool football coach in junior high and the cool, like, girls PE teacher, volleyball coach wore actual like disco polyester clothes, and they knew the moves, so they were going out to whirly gigs or somewhere and doing the dances. Jokerfish says, must have been Led Zeppelin fans causing trouble. That could very well be true. Of course, it was Chicago, you know, there, so it could have been fans of Albert King or, you know, Muddy Waters or BB or somebody. Could have been a bunch of blues fans there. You know what I'm saying? Diana Bryan said, how did you get on with Facebook going down today, Tom? It wasn't down for that long. And I feel sorry for the people who have signed up for like a certain service or subscription or website login that use their Facebook credentials to do that, because you can do that with a lot of stuff nowadays. And if Facebook's down, you can't log into Facebook. You can't get into that other thing anyway, either. Julian Caesar says, if you play Do the Hustle backwards, it still sucks. Sunday Jenna says, oh, hey, Tom Gully. Does your husband just... Delco Chris says, name a decade and genre of music. Someone hates it. That's very true. But name a decade and genre of music, and name a genre you hate, and I guarantee you there's still some good songs in that genre. There still are. I'm not a heavy metal fan, but there's good heavy metal songs that I like. So, you know, Jokerfish says, hello, my bruder, kahuna, meine Bruder. Was tust du gern, bitte? Ja, nicht verstehen Sie, meine Freunde. Sven Dunkel says, all the good vinyl wasted. Wasted day and wasted night. Okay. Sunday Jenna says, Tom, Rico at 8 p.m. Eastern per the frog. You know, those guys said, not once, not twice. I don't know how many times they said 7 Eastern, and I was wailing mournfully in their chat room. Please, dear God, for the love of all that's true and holy, don't do it at 7. I know. I am but a small gnat on the back of the monolith that is TSN, and you have no, compunction whatsoever to accede to my begging and pleading as I bare my soul, humiliating myself, genuflecting in front of their greatness. But I went ahead. I'm starting to sound like Stuttering John. But I went ahead because I'm a good guy. And I moved this show up a whole hour. I said, back up the truck, fellas. We're gonna go early, because if we don't, then it's why even do it. And now it's at 8. Not a call, not a text, not an email, nothing. They've forgotten the little people. I'm sorry, I was just kidding. Who cares? Man, as long as I get monetized, sometime in April, June, whenever. Hi, Diana, says someone named Christina Costello. And by the way, I came up with a name for people that back the frog. It's the Tadpole Battalion. I think it's pretty cool myself. If you got something better, come up with it. How come Bee Gees fans never riot? Because there's only one BG left, isn't there? Team Frog. I am Team Frog. I have been unabashedly Team Frog. And I know it's not his fault. It's nobody's fault. It's life. Stuff happens in my job, all the time. Guess what? The Super Bowl's on a weekend. Guess what? I'm on the weekend. Don't think many people are going to be listening to the Texas State the network that I'm on. Hi, Ronnie. I wish TSN would post start times sooner so a person can plan accordingly. Well, if they cared, they would. Because I'm in here every night at 7 Eastern, and I even say 7 Eastern, and I don't live in the Eastern time zone. I do it as a courtesy. You know why? Because I give and I give and I give and I keep giving, and then I give some more, and I make a simple request. No. I hope you guys know I'm kidding. Having fun with it, actually. Hugh says, if you like Tom Gully, raise your hand. If you don't, raise your standards. Hugh, I like that. Yeah. Well, now let's raise some money. Tom Gully, PayPal.me/Tom Gully Show. Sunday Jenna says, oh, hey, Joker. Peter Lake is laughing. It's good when Peter Lake is laughing over there in England. H.C. Frick says, looking at my copy of Vec as in Wreck right now. H.C. Frick, you are a man after my own heart. That autobiography, Vec as in Wreck, is a must-read for anybody that really likes sports management and a true story of a self-made man. It's an amazing story. The Bill Vec story is amazing. Joker Fish, Bad Leroy Brown, Jim Croce song, You Bet It Is, baby. You bet it is. Truck Stop got its hustlers. Bowery's got its bums. 42nd Street got Big Jim Walker. He's a pool shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he's big and dumb as a man can come, but he's stronger than a country ox. And when the bad folks all get together at night, they all call Big Jim boss just because, you don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off that old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Now out of South Alabama come a country boy. He said, I'm looking for a man named Jim. My name is Willie McCoy. I am a pool shooting boy. Back home they call me Slim. Yeah, I'm looking for the king of 47th Street. He's driving a drop-top Cadillac. And last week he took all my money. It may sound funny, but I come to get my money back. What's the one? Rapid Roy, the stock car boy, is a good one. There's another one. Roller Derby Queen. How's the lyrics go? Anyway. Terry Nee says, thanks goodness Stacy isn't witnessed this emotional stumbling. Thank goodness for me. She'd light me up like a firecracker. Sven Knuckles says, support all farmers. I agree, Sven. Looks like a book burning. Well, a lot of people did call it a book burning. A lot of people did. They compared it to a book burning. H.C. Frick says, early versions of Bad Bad Leroy Brown included the line, meaner than a concentration camp dog. Ooh. Croce decided it was unpleasant to the ear. It was also offensive to Jews. Well, he was right. Lyndon said, late, missed the early start. Good evening, all. Good to see you, Lyndon. Damn good to see you. Hugh says, this seems like something Herb Tarlick and Les Nessman would try to pull off. Yes, I've got a T-shirt in there that says, I survived the 1980 WKRP turkey drop. Duckworth Chris says, imagine if this was 1940. Those ceramic 78s would have been killers. But they shattered a little easier. It's the only good thing. Julian Caesar says, as a kid, Phillies gave out free baseballs to under 13s. Well, 10-cent beer night is another night I could do. That's another famous riot in baseball history. Hundreds of them ended up on the field. Same on poster day, hundreds of poster-sized Piper airplanes clogging the field. Yeah, you got to be careful when you do a promotion at a sporting event because it can get thrown back at you. Julian Caesar says, as a kid, Phillies gave out free... sorry. Sven Douglas says, looks like a normal German soccer league. Yes, the Bundesliga. Yes. Bayern München. Sepp Maier, Torwart, Manny Kautz, Schwarzenbeck, Beckenbauer, Wheatsaler. Then you had, anyway. Paul Breitner, anybody? Gerd Muller? Lyndon says, people smoking weed in an outdoor event. Oh, the horror. Dreihaft. Third half, yes. H.C. Frick, 10-cent beer night, better than disco demolition. Well, we'll cover that, H.C. Frick. I just mentioned it a couple minutes ago. Lyndon says, I could tell you a million stories about the 700 level at the vet. I bet you could. Can you tell us any stories about the A courtroom and B jail in the bottom of vet stadium? Julian Caesar says, yeah, those 700 level could be crazy, but I mostly went on Sunday afternoons, and it was mellow during those games. Oh, mellow. Yeah, Philly mellow, maybe. Terry Nee said Chicago police never spared the shampoo back then. Yeah, there was probably a couple guys in that crowd going, hey, you guys remember the Democratic National Convention in 68? Time for a rerun. Anybody got a brat? Who's got a Chicago dog? Peter Lake says, hello, Sven Dunkel. How you doing today? Trevor Garner says, hey, Thomas. Says, baseball. Yeah. Trevor thinks he's a bigger baseball guy than anybody else. He's a big baseball guy. I'll give him that. But he follows the Angels, you know. H.C. Frick says 30 years later, MLB would allow the Astros to build a weird little hill in center field. They did. I liked them when they were the Houston Colt 45s personally, but Trevor Garner, I had Johnny Grubb on my show last Saturday. Well, hey now, all right. Hey, Johnny Grubb. Hey. Ronald J. Bateman says, I smoke weed pretty much all day. Doesn't make me want to blow up my disco records. Well, Peter Lake says, hello, everybody. How you doing today? Hello. How you doing? Hello. Bill Veeck was a great innovative owner. Well, upon that, we can agree, Trevor Garner. Chef in the house is Randy Ramos. So was Charlie Finley. Charlie Finley wanted orange baseball. Innovated the pinch runner. Terry Nee says, kids these days have nothing on us. We mock their derogatory shouts of boomer. When they say boomer to me, I say thank you. Thank you. Kids couldn't change a light bulb. Bill Murray is co-owner of the River Dogs. Yeah, Bill Murray's into a lot of fun sports stuff. Julian Caesar says our baseball hooligans need to step up their games. A bit of grass was torn up. Oh, the horror. Well, no, it was unplayable. It was unplayable. Punk is not dead. It just goes to bed at a reasonable hour. That's funny. Joker Fish says, grew up a punk, loved disco and dance music. I like pretty much everything. Paisley Polyester. There you go. Boy George killed disco. No, he didn't. He was disco. Please. The Pistols, the Clash, and all that stuff that then morphed into a lot of the new wave, Costello and Haircut 100 and all those British bands and Tears for Fear. It just, Sven Dunkel says, was geht, Bruder? Ich bin ausgezeichnet, meine Freunde. Let's see here. Joker Fish. Julie Z says, if you don't tap your foot to an ABBA song, Waterloo, finally gave me I want to do. Sven Dunkel says, go get him, Tom. Go get him. I think you've discovered 6 p.m. is better. No. Well, maybe. You should join John. That'll shut him up. I'm not going to do anything of this sort. It's not a big deal. I love nothing better than fake outrage for comic purposes. I love it. I love it. It's the most fun thing in the world. Delco Chris says, as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Sweet Corn Mafia. Reverend Wild Bill. Karen Garvey says, don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Doopa doopa doo. It's actually Karen Garvey. If you like Tom Gully, raise your hand. If you don't, raise your standards. That is a t-shirt. Get on that, boys. Stop the presses. If you like Tom Gully, raise your hand. If you don't, raise your glasses. Sven Dunkel, like this special commando, how to blow up the gas chambers with stolen gunpowder from the factory. Reverend Wild Bill says, I remember Penny Beer Night at the Mad Hatters in underground Atlanta. I might not remember the night, but I remember where and what it was. There you go. That's the important thing. Hey, it's awesome to see the Looney Tunes critic here. The death of Auto-Tune wasn't nearly so epic. By the way, paypal.me/Tom Gully Show. You can go to our Patreon. It's all down in the crawl. The TomGullyShow.com has over 270 podcasts. There's bound to be something there you'll enjoy. The Patreon has all the things I'm too scared to publicly post on the internet. And, of course, you can always go to our show store at thetomgullyshow.com or just go directly there by going to cafepress.com/The Tom Gully Show, where you can find things like Terry Nee's giant 20-ounce mug, which if I get rid of one of these disco demolition pictures, I can put into my studio. Man, StreamYard really kind of hoses you on stuff. They really do. Here's Terry Nee's mug. Look at that thing. Look at that. That's a trash can with a handle on it. That's what that is. What that is. Let's just let's get this out of the state. What else do I got? See if I got any other interesting things in my Terry mugs. Oh, here's another person who bought some mugs. Look at that. Look at those, huh? Huh? Yeah, I know. It's envious. It's easy to be envious. And then the last thing I'll show you here, because we got extra time now. Might as well, what's the rush? And that's another reason you, the people listening, should be really, really mad at the Shuley Network, is that now instead of only one Tom Gully Show hour just ruining the internet, there's going to be two. So they are spreading toxic waste is what they're doing. Huh? All right. Now, everybody, especially you ladies, hold on to your hats. Look at that. Look at that. You do that well enough. By the way, wearing another Arsenal jersey. Thank you. Whoops. Kiss the badge. Okay. They give you one of these. All right. All right. We'll take that down in case. I'm keeping it in the studio here just in case somebody wants to see it again. They blow up the offense. Sorry. Looney Tunes says the ultimate irony of rockers hating disco was that White Zombie was one of the hardest rock bands at one time, and Rob Zombie has said disco was his biggest influence. Well, not a fan of Rob Zombie, especially his co-opting of most of the 70s slasher movies. His movies are crap. I can't. What was that one? It's a number. It's 31 or 37 or whatever it's called, where Doomhead is the big scary guy. I'm telling you something right now. I'm an old man, and that Doomhead, I could kick his miserable hiney with sciatica and after falling down in the parking lot. Not scary. Jokerfish says New York Ranger game, 79 Boston players went in the crowd, started whooping guys. Well, what about the malice at the Palace when the Pacers went up into the Auburn Hills Palace in Detroit and started whooping on fans? Looney Tunes critic, another brick in the wall part 2 is completely innovated by disco. Well, even the Stones did a disco album. Marge Schott was a surly old broad. Yeah. H.C. Frick, she's the one that was a big fan of Hitler. And when people called her out on it, I say, you're just mentioning all the bad stuff. He did a lot of good things. It's like, whoa, hey, whoa. You used to let her dog, Shotzi, take a big dump on the Riverfront Stadium AstroTurf. The players were like, we have to play and slide on the, it's my dog, Shotzi, you shut up. Terry Nee, that's like saying Elton John ruined piano playing. Can't leave out Joy Division. No, there's a bunch of them you can't leave out. Human League. Hey, let's not forget U2 came along shortly after Disco Demolition Night. And again, all you got to do is watch that Red Rocks concert. That ain't rock and roll. I don't know what is. Reverend Wild Bill says, starting with the hour pre-show again? No, let's not get into what happened tonight. I was misinformed. I was misled. These guys lead me around like I'm some sort of chippy. Anyway, off topic. Does anyone remember Bleeding Modric? I remember those. I didn't wear them. I remember them. Stacy Allen just got here. Sorry, can you restart the show? Thanks. Stacy, did we not talk earlier? Those guys said 7 Eastern. And I said, in agreement with you, that I was thinking, before you even said anything, okay, I'll start mine at 6. Because I don't want to get crushed by that marauding I-beam in the lake. I know where I stand in this whole thing. And yeah, so I'll just get out of the way. Then they move it back to 8. No call, no text, no email. I'm basically a spinster sitting alone in a restaurant, and no one's going to show up for our scheduled dinner date. That's what I am now. It hurts. It hurts deeply in places I didn't really think I could be hurt anymore. Long, closed off corridors of my mind and soul. I could call Bob Levy right now. I have his phone number. Listen to that. Every time I start talking and I'm having a lot of fun with it, I start to sound like Stuttering John. I'm a complete accident.
I have his phone number. I could call it right now. I'm not going to give it out.
True disco fans know how many beats per minute the typical disco song needs to be for optimal booty shaking. Yes. And a dime for scale. That's right. A dime for scale. I have lady friends that I send pictures to, and they guys got to use the dime for. I always said Tom had a pretty mug. Oh, hey, Trevor. Come on Thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Terry Nee says, I only need 4 cups of coffee now. I was going to try and find a picture to show you guys. Let me see here if I can find it. I didn't get it converted, but I might be able to open up on Facebook. Yeah, they said 7 Eastern. And I even went the route of Eastern. Wow, that is one smoking hot. I even went the round. I mean, I don't like to use Eastern, but I'll do it. The Shawnee Zone last night. Hey, anybody wants to get killed 2 days after a major breakdown in society, listen to what he was telling you. Go ahead. No, stay in the city, barter with people, go get gasoline at the gas station. Dead. Just saying. There's 2 things that you got to do. There's 2 things, not 1, 2. Okay? If you're within 300 miles of a major metropolitan area, and that means if you live anywhere from Boston to Washington, D.C., you better get moving. There's millions upon millions upon millions of people there. All right? You need to get away from people and go to a place completely away from them where you can stockpile things. If you hang out there, you're dead. Dead. And oh, by the way, you want me to make up a list of people that have died from rabbit starvation? They think, oh, I'm eating rabbit. That meat is no fat at all. If you're going to go kill rabbits, okay, and you've got all this other stuff, well, yeah, but that's why you got to have canned beans. And well, beans are already protein, good protein. Why are you killing a rabbit? But if you're going to go out and hunt an animal and you're not traveling, why are you killing rabbits? Why are you not shooting a deer? Then you don't have to go hunting every single day. And then you have meat with fat in it and much more nutritious. I don't even want to get going. I don't really think it's a good idea to listen to guys from Massachusetts about how to survive in a post-apocalyptic world. I don't. That's just my own opinion. It's just me. It's just what I say and what I'm saying. Oh man, I don't think I'm ever going to find this picture. Well, let me see if I can search for it. I could go on and on. I really could. Poop. Let's see. I'll try one more place here. He's a nice guy. He knows a lot about a lot of things. But when he's showing me little containers that this used to hold snacks in, now I can use it. Okay, whatever. Matches don't make me laugh. Matches. Matches. You got matches. Well, these real expensive ones here are these real expensive ones can get wet. Or you could just get a potassium lighter and you're done. There's no, you don't need the matches. No. You're done. Okay, your photos. Let's see here. See if I can find this picture. Because I know Stacey Allen's ripping me a new one here. I know it. I'm not even looking I'm looking at my Facebook right now. I know she, although, okay, let me just show you something, kids. This is where you need to be. Hold on here. This is where you need to be. All right, don't stay in and even if you say, well, there's forests and things in Massachusetts. I don't even know how to respond to that level of this is where you need to be, kiddies. This is where you need to be. Okay? Do you see any other houses around? Oh, by the way, pew, 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 pew. Here, let me make myself teeny tiny, like Vince the lawyer, so you guys can see this. Teeny tiny. There I am. Okay? That's what you need. You need to be. There's where you need to be, kids. There's where you need to be. Hey, want to come get me? Hope you can make it across that. By the way, look at all the open ground between my dwelling and the nearest line of anything. Gee, hope you can make it across that with all the motion detectors that are solar powered out there. Yeah, good luck to you. Have a nice time with all out there. Good luck to you. I'm trying to find this picture. Okay. That I was telling you guys about yesterday. Not doing a very good job of it either. Just not. I've got a bunch of pictures of Texas roadhouses here, though. What the hell is this? Do you believe highly overrated Tom Gully? What a dope. That's from Donald Trump. Well, I don't know that I deserve that. I don't think I deserve that. I really don't. I don't know. It's going to take me an hour to find these pictures. This picture. I probably should abandon it and do it later. But he said a lot of good things. I'm not saying that he didn't, but there's a bunch of stuff in there that was just like, look, you need to get as much stuff as you can. If you're planning on going anywhere in a car, that's a bad idea. Now, you can try and take your car the 400 miles of range that it has with it. But I guarantee you, if you live near a metropolitan area, the roads will be jammed. If everybody in your city right this minute got in their car and tried to get on the highway, the roads would be at a standstill. You wouldn't be able to go anywhere. So go ahead. Yeah, take that car as far as you can. Make sure you got a bike in the back seat, though. Make sure you got a bicyclette with you, because if you don't, you're going to be walking and you need to get somewhere far away. Now, the good news is that if you go west, there are places like North Dakota, South Dakota, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, certain parts of Texas and Utah, where there's no people. There's very few people. The bad news is for you that the people who are there, they know what they're doing because they've been living without power and fending for themselves and killing animals for food and doing all of that for a long time. So if you can avoid them and you can make yourself a little place, hell, they may even leave you alone. But you got to get away from people. You got to. Yeah, you're going to want to go to a pharmacy. You go to a pharmacy, you're going to be dead in an hour. Everybody's going to go to you want to go places where there are no people. Did you not see World War Z? Did you not? Did that not make a dent? For crying out loud, man. You're just asking for it. Speaking of asking for it, I am scrolling through pictures like you can't imagine. I don't think I'm ever going to find these. I don't think I'm ever going to find these pictures. We're going to have to try this a different way. Now it's a quest. And I have the time because somebody left me a whole extra hour. Yeah. Right now, really, all I'm doing is imagining all of the terrible things that that Stacey Allen is saying about me in the chat room right now. That's really all I'm doing. Well, let me see if I can find anything in here. Nope. Nothing in there. Man, I'm pretty sure that it was just like a random posting from a long time ago on Facebook. And hence, it's going to be nearly impossible to find. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. So I'm going to try one more thing, and then we're just going to be out there. I'll have to find it another time. All right, search Facebook. I want to search Facebook. I want to search my own crap. See more, it says. See more. Okay, memories doesn't work either. Ah, Jesus. I'll try this one more time. Come on, be good to daddy. Oh, I found it. You can't really tell what a stud I was, really, that well. But you know what? I'm going to show this anyway. There you go. What do you guys think of that? Huh? Huh? There you go. That is when I was dating the smoke show across the hallway. That's when I met Ronald Bateman right there. That's back in the days. All right, let's see. 2 hours of ruin is better than one. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey guys, why don't I open up the phone lines? Jeez, that'll skyrocket the show. Tekken Force, haven't seen you in a long time. We needed a 24/7 gully cam, even when you sleep, Tom. Who says I sleep? Toxic warfare is my thing. Oh, God. Toxic warfare is my thing. Tubi, House of 1,000 Corpses, it's a ripoff. And a not that good ripoff either. He's such a Tarantino wannabe. Doomhead. Don't even get me. The clown, Captain Al Spaulding or whatever, Captain Spaulding, whatever. Come on. I pray that guy knocks. I mean, I know the actor's dead, but I pray that he knocks on my door. Oh, what fun I would have. And let's tap the brakes on Rob Zombie's wife, please. Let's see. Ronald Bateman says, House of 1,000 Corpses was okay. Everything after was garbage. Schlock. Yeah. Devil's Rejects was a great movie. Why don't you just get everything that the Manson family said and put it in a script and call it yours? Come on, man. Come on. Karen, come on. Karen, I don't want to fight. Not between you and I. Don't let our good love go bad. The Looney Tunes critic says schlock doesn't mean garbage. Schlocks mean low budgeted of low quality all around. Well, it don't mean good. I do like some schlock, though. But I don't like Rob Zombie anything. I like his music. I don't like his wardrobe. I don't like anything about him. And by the way, if you do, I encourage you to. What do I care? If you like it, and he's got a huge fan base, it's the horror people are very, very, very intensely supportive of what they like, and I'm all in favor of that. I'm just saying, I've seen better things under a Band-Aid. Be more specific. Lots of people named Hitler. Vic Hitler, the narcoleptic comedian in the first season of Hill Street Blues. Toby McGroby says, Terry Nee. Billy West on Howard Stern did a fun Marge Schott impression. Yeah. Marge Schott was Devil's Rejects was the other good one, but he totally messed up the Halloween. That's true. And you know what else? That 30, what was the name of that damn movie with the number in it that I own? Because when I was living in the middle of nowhere in Utah, there was a little section in the Family Dollar that sold Blu-rays and DVDs. They only came through like once every 3 months, and I would clean out all the good ones. $3 DVDs, $6 Blu-rays. And some of them were awesome movies. I was like, wow, geez. And I bought that 31 or whatever it's called that has Malcolm McDowell and Boom Boom Washington from Welcome Back, Kotter, and the chick with the weird eyes from They Live. and Doomhead. And I was just like, bring Doomhead to my house. That runty, I will. Stuttering John might be able to beat him up. Julian Caesar says there are piano playing dogs on YouTube that get way more views than Elton John's on. Well, those same videos, look at what I'm doing. Sven Dunkel says Hitler abused his female cousin. Oh, hey, Sven. Terry Nee says, gotta go. The Tom Gully show is on. Oh, Terry Nee. You guys are some good people. I'm really glad you're here. Toby, by the way, I had a blast last night, and I'm kind of having a blast tonight. Now, if they had not moved this time, I would have at 7 o'clock done a show I'm dying to do. And this, statistically, Tuesday nights are my best night. Why? I have no idea. The top 10 most viewed episodes in American television history. I'm dying to do that show. And now I don't know whether to do it tomorrow or just wait till next week. But that Adolf Hitler, the more I learn about him, the less I care for him. The guy seems like a real jerk. Stacey Allen says, I blame Morse. Well, that's a tactic that never fails, really. I like Mike Morse, very learned man. Paused Up Patriot says, you can't go through life running away from your bullies, Tom. No offense. Well, he who laughs and runs away lives to fight another day. Yes, yes. They're not bullies. They're just doing a show, just like I'm doing. Oh boy. Sven. That's a turn for the dark, my man. Joker Fist says, doopa-doopa-doo. Hello, Joker. By the way, Karen, you can like those movies. I'm just overreacting. Those movies didn't do nothing to me. Those movies didn't jump off the shelf and tattoo themselves to my eyelids. And I bought the Doomhead one because I thought, man, I want to give this guy another chance. And I like Blu-rays anyway of any kind because they look so good. And then I watched it and I was just like, man, I would so like to meet that guy in a dark alley. 06, not even considered enough for a reacher. Blondie did a disco song, NYC CBGB band. Yeah, she did. She did a rap song. Flash is mad, flash is good, plan swallow, flash they don't know, and you don't stop. Sure shot. You go down to the parking lot and you get in your car and you drive real car and you see a light, you drive all night and you see a light and then you see a man from Mars. Hey, Joker Fish, stop steering at Tom's mug. Oh no, I live there. Hell yeah, brother. Go to a mall. No one goes there anymore. That's Dawn of the Dead. Night, dawn, and day. It's Dawn of the Dead, yeah. Rabbit Fever. Get away from people, get off the grid. Maybe you should have stayed in Utah, Tom. Oh, I'll get to Utah. Don't you worry about old Tom. Because I'm set up to get there. Because I know I'm not staying here. That's silliness. Look, most people only have about 3 days worth of food, and they probably have less than half a tank of gas, and they sure as hell don't have a way to siphon it. If I started driving and said, I got a siphon. If I see an abandoned car or somebody, I'm going to be siphoning gas. And, a certain point, you get out, you get your mountain bike, and you start a ride. And it may take you a couple of weeks. You may have to ride at night. But once I get back to Utah, everything's Jake. Because all this stuff's already stockpiled. Positive Patriots is Massachusetts. Is it post-apocalyptic? Ramadan for big cities. Don't panic, just me. By the way, the phones are open at 972. 994-6822. Ramadan for big cities. Don't panic. Just meditate. Rabbit. Rat is so much better and more protein. They grow them big in Atlanta. Size of medium dogs. Well, I don't know. Rodents tend to have less fat. You want meat with fat on it, you know, and nutritious meat that's got a lot of iron in it and other things. Rabbit meat don't have that. By the way, rabbit, ain't a lot of meat on a rabbit. What are you going to shoot it with, by the way? 22? Do you have a super high precision 22 rifle? Do you? Okay. Because anything bigger, you're going to blow that damn rat into pieces unless you have jackrabbits, in which case, good luck. I mean, have a debit card on hand. Debit card ain't going to work. Oh, man, the grid and all the banks are going to be broken down. Money will be useless. You can hunger for 9 weeks. Just check on water. Rule of threes. You can last 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Once I had to get the front desk to light my fireplace for me when I stayed at a nice hotel. I'm going to be in deep trouble. You need 3 things for a fire, Toby. You need fuel, which is something that burns. Okay? You need air, oxygen. And you need a spark or fire. Okay? Now, when you get up into the mountains of Utah, at the elevation I was at, what's the thing that's not that plentiful? Air. The air is very thin. It is super hard to start a fire at that elevation. It is. It's just way, way harder. So you have to figure out a way to get ventilation, airflow. So to start the wood stove where I was staying, you had to open a window to get the airflow going through, or you couldn't start a fire. And incidentally, once you get up there, it takes your body quite a while to acclimate to that amount of oxygen. Yeah, I started running up the stairs one day, and I went, whoa, hey, whoa, look, what the hell's going on here? I almost fell over. P-Town might be a safe bet in the apocalypse. I don't know what P-Town is. That's what I call the bathroom. Tom just moved from there, Utah, the great outdoors. Well, that's the video at the front and back of the show is where I was living. Did you see any houses? You saw the one car. It's probably a tourist. In case of the apocalypse, Karen Garvey says, I'm using my vinyl records as weapons. Hey, I've seen dumber things. That's not a bad idea. Generational rural farmers have a standing army of family and friends. Yeah, you're very, very right, they do. And so, you know, if you manage to find an RV that was abandoned or something and could get it somewhere, you might be able to push it out into the woods in the middle of nowhere and then, do what you can to barricade yourself. But, if the U.S. government has already mapped out this end game, there are known things that will happen, and they're on a timeline. It's not crazy stuff. The first thing that happens is cities collapse and huge loss of life, and because people starve, they kill each other, After a few months, the people who got out that can survive are still alive, and the people who got out that can't survive aren't around no more. For a certain period of months, 6 months to a year, people are going to be stay away from me. I got mine, you go get yours. After that, people will begin very slowly to start forming communities and relationships again. I actually like your new name, Karen Garvey. Sven Dunkel says, go in the desert and dig a deep hole. They already dug some. Incidentally, if it's a nuclear attack, you can go online right now and see where you should go. I mean, obviously all the big cities are going to be gone, but certain of those way out of the way places aren't going to be worth going to because there's missile silos there all over the place and they're going to get hit. Pa says, is that what you're doing now, Tom? Living in the desert? No, Dallas. Tom, we can imagine the pictures you're scrolling through. We're seeing me as you do it. And I saw a few interesting ones, too. Probably the ones in Vegas. Stuttering John scrolls through stuff on his show, too. But at least he says, What stings more, Gully? Me saying bad stuff or me not saying anything at all? Bad stuff. Bah. Well, who's the monkey with the guy holding the tray? Let's see. I'll tell you who it is. It's that guy. That guy right there. Nice picture, monkey business. No hate, Tom. Cannibalism is legal anyway. Well, you better get it fresh. After about a day or two, that meat no good no more. Reverend Wild Bill says, I'm a Rob Zombie fan for the horror aspect. 31. You guys are all telling me about that damn movie. House of a Thousand Corpses and Devils rejects a brutal character, but when Sherry Moon fakes laughs, it's okay.
Mike Morse.
He's a good dude. A little excessive on the Mets stuff. Said the Arsenal fan. Arsenal, glorious, glorious, Arsenal. Let's see here. YouTube just slapped my wrist about Rabbit. Good night, Tom. See you tomorrow, kind sir. Lyndon, always good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Sven Dunkel says Hitler got bit of parts of his dinghy. Okay. 2-hour show seems rather necessary. Half tempted to buy a bunch of haha history just to raise Mike's spirit. Hey, that dude doesn't need his spirits raised. I'm sure they're raised very nicely by his TSN salary. PayPal.me/Tom Gully Show. No, I'm kidding, Chris. Chris has made a very, very, very generous donation to the program, and I thank him for it. Plus, he makes me laugh my little took us off. Blondie did Rapture, Uptown, Downtown, NYC music. She sure did. Rabbits are good for lifestyle. She also did, I got brass in pocket. Easy to breed, easy to feed, and quiet, but wild rabbits, nope. Even as livestock, man, they're just not. Cars have anti-siphon devices now. Oh, really? Really? I got a drill. I got me a drill. You can snare a rabbit in a trap. Snare a lot of animals in a trap. I have a Remington 22 long rifle semi-auto with rifle with scope. Yeah, okay. Not a lot of feet per second there. Incidentally, if you're hunting something big, that 22 might not do it. Even with a rabbit. Depends on where you hit it. You know, well, I'm about 7.65, you know what I'm saying there? Just get about anything. You get a deer right behind the shoulder there, and it just right through the heart, and it falls right over. Pew, pew. All done. Take him up, skin him. Brine that meat and eat her up real good. There again, I'm set up pretty good. Yeah, I'm sure you got other devices at your disposal there, Wild Bill. Julian Caesar says, when the plane destroyed the disco transmitter in airplane, that was when Hollywood gave up on disco. Just stay low-level moist, also gathering there. Yes, Sven Dunkel. Survival is living long enough to outlive most. Well, that's a good way of putting it. Toby, don't tell that fireplace story ever again or prepare to turn in your man card. Well, no, you just need to learn how. It's not hard. You just have to learn how. All this stuff is not hard. It's just things you have to learn to do. Plant your own food, look after it, stuff. It's just what one man can do, another can do. It's very, When do you think they finally kick this thing off? I don't know what you're talking about. I've got a few years worth of food and a few armies worth of lead. Oh, you're fine, Paz. Splendid show, Tom. Well, thank you. Grüß dich, danke, servus. Stacy Allen says, an hour extra of shows times 24 people watching is a full day of show watching to add to your total. Keep it going, Gully. Yes. I'll be... So 25%. So it's a 3. I'll be 3.5% closer to my goal. Breed pigs, for God's sakes. Well, when you start breeding animals, that's going to draw people. See, you're better off getting an animal you can, like chicken. Because chicken you can put in the house, hen house, outhouse, and then it lays eggs. And it don't need to be running around all there and there and all everywhere, letting people steal it and all that business. Tekken Force says, you're a guns guy, Tom. If so, what's your favorite? Well, I have a soft spot in my heart for Colt 1911, but I like your Glock 43, your 43X, and your 34. I also have a Beretta 21A and an SKS rifle and a shotgun that I don't like to use too much. Kahuna, you would be right if I still had my man card. I have a 7-pound dog in my arms right now. Is it a Maltese? I love a Maltese. Julian Caesar says the guy in Into the Wild by John Krakauer killed a moose with a 22 long rifle because he didn't have salt. He still starved. Yeah, well, isn't that the guy that also ate the poison berries or whatever? Pigs and mushrooms for me. I was talking 22 long rifle small game. You get that small game there, see? You got that there small game. Well, somebody has said, but I believe I like to trap that small game. I don't believe I won't shoot that small game because it's going to make a noise unless you got a suppressor on it. If you got a suppressor on it, sometimes, they reduce compression on that rifle shot. And, it debilitates the amount of hydrostatic shock's going to be passed along in that animal. That's okay because you like meat to be more intact, but I don't know. I just don't know. Shoot, shucks, hot dang you all, Lord son, I reckon. Dip me in doo-doo and roll me in cracker crumbs. I was born on the freeway and I was raised on a mayonnaise farm. And when I was 7, my pa run over me with the backhoe. Sparks commenced and my face caught on fire. One of my twin, not that right in the head brothers come off the porch and put it out with a hoe. Then I growed up and I attended Ball State University for no damn reason, where I majored in towels. That's what I done. Terry Nee says, I have a 315 Bowery, New York crock from when it was a food store. Do you think boomers would pay extra for it? CBGB address? Only one way to find out, man. Set a high bid limit for it and put it on that there eBay. Reverend Wild Bill says, or take it to the Antiques Roadshow. Tell me about what you have here today. Reverend Wild Bill says there was a woman that killed a Kodiak bear in Alaska with 22 long rifle. Well, that's the exception that proves the rule. Toby, a dog, you're okay as long as you're not carrying a kitty cat. Kitty cat. 972-994-6822. That there Stacy Allen, she got her Glock 43, and I like that one. It's single stack. There's no printing. The only thing wrong with that one is maybe you need a few more pew-pews in it, and then that's when you got to go to the 43X. But really, if you can't get the job done with, what's that got? 6 in the cartridge, 1 in the chamber, 6 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. I don't know. Clip. I don't know. You might not need it. I kind of don't like that extended magazine on that 43X, but you do get a few more pew-pews out of it. Springfield Armory makes some real nice Colt replicas that are single stack right now. Of course, the single stack I like because there's no printing. Sven Douglas says, attack pig breed on hand. Any of you? Yeah, I got me that attack hog squadron back there.
Kill! Kill, Suey! Kill!
22 long rifle turns squirrels into cat food. Fact, yeah. Smallest, but mighty Glock. Well, you know that Glock 26, that ain't no to sneeze at. I've been, casting a kind of an envious eye on that sumbitch myself. I seen it there at the gun shop, and I went, well, I don't know. Tekken Forces says 475 Whitley Magnum from Death Wish 3 is one I'd love to acquire someday. A handheld cannon. Well, you might as well just going up to the Desert Eagle at that point. Roadkill Cafe. It's breakfast all day long at the Roadkill Cafe. I think Gully's officially lost it. You know, it's not official. There's nobody here with a stamp. I learned last night on the Shawnee Zone that I'm all good all I'm good for is to paint war faces. Anyone going to need a face painter? There's probably somebody. Powdered eggs. Come on, man. I got a Glock 26, baby Glock, pretty small. You got to figure out how much you can take with you. And if you got a car or a something that can get you a certain distance, and you're lucky enough to refill. It's like if I go to Utah, it's going to be 1,000 miles. My car goes 400. Have a map. Rand McNally old school map. Or the DVD style. Because there ain't going to be no GPS and all from the satellites. Okay? And if you can take back roads and state highways. But if you get your 400 miles, what are you going to do then? Do you know where there's an abandoned gas station? Because abandoned gas stations, the ones that went out of business along the highways in certain places, when they turned a state highway into an interstate highway, and the state highway gas station got sort of just taken apart and moved out onto big, there's still gas in the bottom of those. You got to filter the water out of them. But there's gas down in there, enough to fill your car too. And, well, you going to get another one filled up? Okay, 400 more miles. You still got 200. You ride your bike 10 miles an hour, 10 hours a day, you're done. 2 days. So you're looking at 3 or 4 days. And by the way, if you're smart, you get out a day or two before you need to get out. But, whatever. We could make a movie about this. I need the grip on a 43. Well, they sell them all over Tarnation. Save the Squirrels. Glock 21. And you get yourself 19 or 17. That's another thing you got to consider is what kind of ammo. Because some people, you got a weapon that's got 10 millimeter ammo in it. Well, good luck finding more of that. And then the whole thing about, make sure and get plenty of ammo unless you're going to a place where you got a lot of powder or a way to make powder and you can load your own. And you've got cartridges and everything else you need. That face paint, cold water, mixed paint, thank you later. Car miles decreased great depending on cargo load. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Is he's showing that guy that was trying to armorize his pickup truck, and it's like, it's going to get 6 miles to the gallon, dude. And by the way, if he had a bunch of stuff somebody wanted, they'd shoot out the tire. This doesn't make any sense. Do not go on any roads. I'm with you, Terry Nee. I'm with you. If you can barter with people. Barter? Barter. All right. Oh, good. Good plan, barter. Yeah, no, go to that gas station, go to that pharmacy. You're dead. I remember when Glocks first came out, people thought they were going to be invisible to metal detectors. Well, you know, hey, that dude made curtain rods before he made them Glocks. And the 1911 fans like Tom started the rumor they would always jam. I didn't start that rumor. I love a 1911 because that's the gun that I had for the longest and I started with. But 45 ammo isn't as easy to find as 9mm ammo. So it's not impossible. It's actually pretty easy, but it's not as easy as 9mm. Mousetrack, bug, shoot body. Let's quit talking about guns. Let's just lay off the guns. Maybe my gun is barter. Doc did make one that was invisible. It was a ceramic. I had to tell you about going to shooting range with my buddy sometimes. Randy Ramos is like me from Indianapolis, and so he remembers Don's guns. And Don was a bodyguard for Jimmy Hoffa, and he had a gun store, and he had the cheesiest ads in the world. And he had us, if you want to come in right now and buy this little Beretta 21A, fits good on your ankle, only going to cost you $200. Come on down to Don's Guns. Why? I don't want to make any money, folks. I just love to sell guns. That's the way it went. 972-994-6822. It's in the crawl. Delco Chris says, get a copy of MS Flight Sim. Learn to fly. Steal a Cessna 172. No roads, 300 to 400 mile range. Where are you going to land that sucker? You think maybe some people might see a flight overhead? You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. What you got. Although that might be able to haul some stuff. But if you got a place to land that sucker. Can we talk about flamethrowers? Hey, can we talk about Well, hey, I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'd love to talk about flame. I'm trying to figure out what I'm having for dinner tonight. Frozen pizza. Corned beef hash. Wolf brand no bean chili. One of them three. One of them three. I ride 200 miles per week on my bike, but I don't think it's possible to use a bike around here to actually get anywhere in an emergency. Crowded East Coast. Well, you got to have a mountain bike. And you got to be willing to ride at night. And you got to be willing, and by the way, you better get yourself some night vision goggles. It's good if you have an RDS or a scope. It's night vision too, but and you better be willing to do some back roads and cow paths or stuff. But I don't think we won't have to think about it. Although Facebook and Instagram went down, it's upon us. And by the by, the way the whole thing opened up with him yesterday, with what's going on in China and this place and that place and this place and these people at war and these people are at war and the world has been at war somewhere since the beginning of time, and there has never been a period when the world has not been at war somewhere. And you can go back to the Greek and Roman scrolls, and you can hear people saying the same thing that dude was saying last night. I don't know if this money's going to be any good. I don't know if that. It's always the doomsday. Being prepared for it, I think, is smart. It's smart. But when it happens, there isn't going to be any warning. It's not going to happen the way we think it's going to happen. It's not going to be predictable. I think Facebook should go offline more often, if you ask me. Stacey says, "Gee, Scully, what's your problem with Shawnee?" I have any problem with Shawnee. Just some of the things he was saying. Not all of them. There was a ton of good stuff in there. But if you don't get away first, get away, you're done. All the other stuff you're talking about doesn't even matter. After you get away, and if you're smart, you're already doing it, then a place with all that stuff makes a lot of sense. But that's why I'm saying you're going to carry bottled water. You know how much water weighs? Good luck to you. Good luck to you. You need to get somewhere. Do you know how many people I did search and rescue for out in Utah? I'll tell you a story. Photographer. Been in the mountains many times. Photographed everywhere. Okay. Done it a lot. Was out in this one section of uneven, rocky terrain. He had a backpack with him. He had a bottle of water, right? He went down into this bowl that was shaped kind of like this. Went into it, started trying to climb out, couldn't get out. Couldn't get out. Now, luckily, since he was a photographer, everybody got to see the pictures that he took. And we could see where he almost reached the rim of getting out of that bowl. Almost kept running up top, sliding back there, running top. At one point, it's theorized he took his clothes off and tried to like worm his way up to the thing. Nope. Well, once you're out of water, you're out of time. It's a matter of time. Okay? It's no cell service. Did the thing a lot of desperate people do, where they urinate into their water bottle and let the impurities separate, because your impurities will separate in that bottle. If you just let it sit there, yellow at the top, the bottom's white, that water is so full of bacteria. It looks like it's separated. Yeah. Done. Now, if he had had a backpack with a camelback, right? 3-5 gallons of water, however much it carries. Now you're talking about enough time that somebody will say he didn't turn up. We haven't seen him. They send out search and rescue. Maybe you've got some time. Here's another mistake people make. When they get lost in the woods, what do you think the first thing that you should do when you get lost in the wilderness is? You're on a hike, okay? If you're smart, you've told people where you're going, what your plan is, when you plan to be back, and you even leave a note at the beginning of the trail that states all of this. What's the first thing you should do when you get lost? Very first thing. Stop right where you are. If you don't know where you are and you get that thing that says, I am lost, stop and do not move. And from that place, if you can, establish a little base camp, right? With whatever you have, but don't move. The way a lot of people die in the wilderness is they get more and more and more lost and impossible to find because they try to find their way back. You will never likely be closer to the route you were on and should have taken than you are the moment you realize you're lost. And I could point to an equal number of examples where somebody did that and survived, and somebody didn't do that and they didn't survive. So, yeah. Hulk Hogan stopped all wars from 84 to 96. Water filter straws. There you go, Sven. Hello, all. Tom loves me. No, Brett, I think you love yourself enough for all of us. Tom, if you're on the East Coast, you're not getting anywhere. It's like the colonial days. We're stuck east of the Appalachians. We need to play the hand we're dealt. I then. Hey, what's that place north of the East Coast? Never mind. But I do agree with you to a large extent. That's why I would never live there. But yeah, you're kind of in trouble there. I mean, bad trouble. But if it's early enough and you get out, you make it to the Mississippi, you got a fighting chance. It's not that impossible. But yeah, probably. Well, what do you? But if you stay there, you're done. I'd rather have a fighting chance than just stay there. My urine is only wheat. FEMA will be right there, right? Oh, that's the other thing when everything breaks down. Nobody's coming to help. Nobody. Give that up. Call 911. Nobody's coming to help you. Cry. No, you don't cry. You buck up. Stacey Allen, you're a fighter. You're not going to cry. Set up camp. There you go, Paz. Cry, says Terry. If you get lost in the woods, don't throw out the map like Blair Witch. Well, there's the theory behind that too. But Lucas Malago says, this is tie-in to the Boy Scouts episode, isn't it? A little bit. Set the trees on fire. Not a terrible idea. Long as you know which way the wind's blowing. Because people, they will respond to a forest fire. Terry Nee, that's what I'm saying. Flamethrower. Karen Garvey wants her a flamethrower. By the way, PayPal.me, Tom Gully Show. PayPal.me/Tom Gully Show. Man, we could really use you. A little something. Whatever. Just a vote of confidence. Makes me feel better when I go buy new microphone equipment. It makes me feel like that I have a shot at this. And I can stop doing what I'm doing 9 to 5. Not that I expect this to take the place of that, but I can stop doing that and do like some more piecemeal things and this, and that would make me happy in my older years. I've worked so hard and been so unhappy doing it for so many people for so many years, and it's like, can I just be happy for the last? Because man, it's the fourth quarter. All right, it's 15, 20 years. They're putting me in a jar. They're going to burn me up, put me in a jar, and scatter me on a soccer field somewhere. Nothing better than a gasoline putty. I used to be able to carry a 50-pound pack, but then I busted up my shoulders, so now it's 15 is an ordeal. Falling off my bike was a bad idea. Well, you could always rig a bike or something that the bike carried the load. Great sound anyway. Thank you, Sven. Thank you. On the back nine. Yep, Terry Nee. You know what I mean? Terry Nee knows what I'm saying. Terry Nee knows what I'm saying. It's like, well, that day I thought would never come. It's here. And Terry Nee and I are still, and Bob Levy, we're some righteous dudes, man. We are oftentimes the hippest guy in the room. I had a guy one time tell me, I don't know how you live this long running your mouth like you do. And I said, you probably ought to think about that a little bit. How you think I got to be this old, running my mouth like I do? Sure wasn't sweating people like you. Dead Kennedy sang a song about a forest fire, but Jello ate weird berries. Jello Biafra, probably the victim of one of the worst cases of canceling and shunning in the history of the world. Julian Caesar says, you know you're a diehard punk when you actually listen to the lyrics. You're darn right. Hips. You mean arthritis? No, I don't have that yet. Hope I never get it.
But it's a coming.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about 2 minutes, 15 seconds from the real show that's happening this evening. But I would like to thank all of you being here, and I would really like to ask all of you to like, share, and subscribe. That don't cost nothing. It don't cost you nothing, right? Don't cost you a penny. And then if you should really be nice and kind and go to paypal.me/Tom Gully Show, or what's the one? Patreon.com/The Tom Gully Show, where you can hear me interviewing a good friend of mine that's a dominatrix and other porn stars. And you can hear me in air travel mode. Karen Garvey will tell you about that, when I am losing it. Brett said, should I subscribe? Brett, you just do whatever you want, man. Do whatever you want. You're just... If you can squeeze a drop of anybody else into your existence, go right ahead and do that. Hit the like button. Up the punks. You're right, Jokerfish. Up the punks. Karen Garvey says, Tom's Patreon is fun. It is. It's a good time. So you guys got a show to go see. Of course, there's going to be 10 minutes of Dabble, DJ Dabble, but I need to get out of here right now. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are the best. Sorry for rambling for an hour, but it ain't my fault. It ain't my fault. With all that being said, the only thing left to say is, other than I will see you in the Shuley world here in a few minutes. Till next time, go Gunners. We'll see you next time. Right out of my pants.